everybody. So I just recorded this video, except I didn't. I was talking for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then I realized I had not pressed the record button. So I was talking to Bailey, evidently, and answering his questions about Bewitched and Bewildered. So now that I know that the record button is working, so I'm going to start back at the beginning. And what I want to do is, this is going to be my July chit chat. It was funny because when I previously recorded it, I had a moment where I was like, what month is it? Yeah, I totally had just like a brain cloud or whatever. And if you know what that's from, please comment down below. So, first question, I'm going to jump right into it because everybody knows I have a tendency to ramble and these videos are super long. Will I be at Dragon Con? Not this year. Possibly next year. Next year, it wasn't planned on making it a travel year, but I think getting geared up and ready for London has really it's kind of given me the travel bug. So, I may be traveling a lot next year just to get it out of my system. If I'm in the States and in the area, like if it's possible and feasible and it doesn't overlap with another convention, I definitely do want to try to get to Dragon Con next year. It is on my bucket list, actually. It's one of my things I want to do. And of course, I want to get like completely decked out. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 1000%. I'm not just going to be wearing like a Star Wars t-shirt walking around. I want to be like in full gear and just go and experience the whole thing. So anyway, where do I get inspiration for characters? Life, movies, books, anime. There could be, for example, I think I was watching something the other day and one of the characters was wearing this really pretty, like, purple plum, like, 3 or 4 piece suit, like, just decked out. And, I was like, ooh, what if I had a character that they only wear purple? Like, purple pimp suits. You know, and it just, my brain misfires, and that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Oh, by the way, I am sorry about this whole thing. Those are blinds that are down and closed, by the way. So evidently these are not light blocking plantation blinds. So I'm sorry, there's a big glare right here. I've tried moving the curtains. They don't help. So sorry. I do like to record this time of day though, because there is a lot of natural light. And if you guys watched the last video, it was so dark. I wanted to kind of avoid that. So sorry about that. Will we ever see another Fae female besides the Queen? Yes, and this actually answers another question later about my short story. I do. I have it right here. It's been sitting on my desk for a month and a half. I do want to finish it. It's Bronwyn, who is Fae, and it's the story. It's featuring her and her mate Marius, which is Adelaide's squire. So you definitely will be meeting Bronwyn in that short story. I just gotta get to it. But I'm like in this hellish writing cycle where it's like I release a book and then for like a week and a half, 2 weeks after the book is out, I'm brain dead. And then a month after that, I'm like in relax mode because I'm just taking a deep breath for like a month. And then I go through like this 2-3 week procrastination period. And then I go through like a 3 to 4 week, oh my God, I have to write the book because the other one's up for pre-order. And then it's don't eat, don't sleep, eat beef jerky, write a book. Then I do edits and the book comes out. And then I have like release week, hell. And then it's back, the cycle starts again where it's 2 weeks of brain dead. And it just keeps going and going and going. I just got to figure out how I'm going to fit short stories in. If I can just fit short stories in somewhere in that cycle, I'll be golden. I can get a lot more done. Will there be any MM books from you in the future? For those of you that don't know, MM is male, and I do love writing and reading MM books. So if there are going to be any MM books from me, I'm thinking it might be a novella. I might be doing 2 novellas, or maybe I can just put them together as one. But I want to do Sydney and Justice from Lyconia, and I want to do Avery and Warwick from Nocturne Falls. So Just don't have any kind of a bead or a timeline on that right now. Once again, prefacing these questions with, I won't answer any questions about Magnus's mate, Ryu's mate, Sasha's mate, Penny, or is Keelan coming back, or pregnancy or baby questions, because I get those all the time, and I know I've answered those a couple of times in videos. So if you submitted those this time around, unfortunately, I will be skipping them because it's the most asked questions. It's on my FAQ, I think. If not, it will be added. So I just, to save everybody time, just go watch the other videos. You will be experiencing this, the dark and then the light and then the dark. Or me acting like a dork. So one of them is like hella long though. I think the last one was like an hour long. So if you watch that one, get like popcorn and a drink and get relaxed and just, have me playing in the background. How does reproduction work in this universe? How is it determined what species? Like, for example, they gave the example of Penny, which is 2 shifters. And then I'm going to tie this question into the question about Amelia and why they, if they can't mate until they're 100, how did Amelia mate at 36? So they kind of go, these 2 questions kind of go hand in hand. So it's a toss-up. My brain keeps going back to the hybrid chart from science class and from school. So, you have witch up here, you have shifter down here, and it's like 25% chance witch, 25% chance vampire, and then you have like this 50% where it could be half and half. That's kind of how I see it. So it's a toss-up. It just depends on how I want to write it. But basically, it could be anything. More than likely, I want to say it's usually a split of it somehow. And the reason why Amelia was able to mate at 36 as opposed to waiting to 100, it is not like a hard, fast law. It's recommended. It's frowned upon. Like, you have to have kind of extenuating circumstances for a paranormal to mate with their mate under 100. But it would probably be an instance where they're like 89 and what's another 11 years to a paranormal. Where they would probably get into like a lot of trouble is anything under 50, because that is still really considered childlike. But with Amelia, because she was half human, humans age differently than paranormals. And it's because we have a shortened lifespan. Physiologically, biologically, hormones are released at a certain age. We have cellular degradation. We mature faster mentally, physically, emotionally than paranormals. And she brought that. That's like half of her. That's half of Amelia. So her 36 was probably closer to like a paranormal 100, 150. So that's kind of where she was able to mate younger. It's because she's half human. The mentality is there. Whereas you have somebody like Nigel and Neil that just turned 100, or Avery, and they're sort of like 18, 20 years old mentally, like if we had to compare it. So hopefully that answered both questions. I don't want this to be a long video, so I'm going to move really quickly. Are there any FF? So the flip side of MM is female-female couples. Will there ever be? So far, all of them have been MM. There will not be any FF. I say that, I'm jinxing myself. There may be, but I want to say it is like a minute possibility. I basically don't want to say complete no just because I never know what happens. It could happen. Only because I'm like super heterosexual. Like, if I were a guy, I would be gay. Like, that's how heterosexual I am. So it doesn't bother me in the least bit to write MM or MFM or MMF because that's who I am as a person. So I have no experience with FF. I don't read it. I don't live it. So it's just not in my makeup. So that's why I don't write it. So like I said, I don't want to say no, but there's like a 0.001% chance of a yes. It's just, like I said, I don't think so. How do I choose my book covers? I actually go to Shutterstock, and it's this very arduous, torturous task of looking at all of these male models online until I find one that in some way reminds me of the character that I'm about to write. And for example, the one with Adriel where he's got his arms extended, to me that it was almost like he was creating like a barrier or a wall kind of protecting everyone. Declan, I think, had his hands behind his head like this, kind of relaxed, a little more, not playboy, but kind of fun-loving. So there's something about each picture that talked to me about, for that character. And then I send it off, and they make the cover. When I first got the series started, I basically was like, hey, I really like the Gina Showalter books, their covers, and they kind of emulated that. And then from now until the end of the books, we just kind of plug in and make the newer male model work. That's kind of how it goes. My favorite cake has to be the honey bun cake. I mentioned it in Fate Knows Best of the Arcadia series. It is an actual cake. And if you're interested, email me. I have little magnets that can go in your fridge with the recipe on it. It is amazing. It is like my favorite cake, hands down. It's like the perfect coffee cake. It's actually just a perfect cake, period. So yeah, that's my favorite cake. I love cinnamon though. I love cinnamon and brown sugar. My favorite couple from Bewitched and Bewildered. Like I have favorite characters, but the favorite couple. I mean, Marin and Aiden, but it's just because we see them so much. They're like in every book, and you get to see them grow and change and develop. But just if you take them at like one book value of what one I like the best, I'm thinking probably the last one that I did with Ellie and Grant. They kind of came together and was happy despite themselves. So they both brought like baggage and insecurities, and they just made it work. So I think as a couple, I like those two the best. When will the rest of the books be released on audio? As soon as I can, actually. I just have to work around the narrator schedule. I think her next opening is in the end of August. So we might get book 2 by the end of the year. It is a very expensive and time suck process to do an audiobook. Audiobook costs between $3,000 and $4,000 to produce. It takes 2 to 3 months. So it's not something that can happen really quickly. Even if the process wasn't involved, I have to budget, because this is all upfront costs for me. I have to budget for this. So if I were to do every single book all in one go, that's like what, $35,000? Yeah, it's gonna take a while. So as soon as I can, and working around the narrator schedule, we will get these books out, I promise. Just may take a little bit. I'm not going to answer anything about Marin or Stefan. It's coming up. Why are there no squires in Stormkeep? Stormkeep, and this is going to come out probably in the next 8 books? 5 books? Not immediately, so I don't want to say the next 2 to 3 books. But it'll come out more after that, so at the end of the next 5, when we're about ready to really launch into Stormkeep. A lot more will come out about that city. But basically, in Kendrick's story, when his parents are basically driven from the city and they adopt a council, you have a 4-man council, which is like every Pillar City. But then you have like this other kind of magic academy council, and that is made up of all of the strongest witches, and they kind of run everything. So the elders can put something into motion, but it's kind of like the bureaucratic red tape. So like, for example, the elder can come back and say, hey, you need to increase the number of warriors in the city. The witches council come back and says, you know what? You're right. We will do that as soon as blah, blah, blah. Except blah, blah, blah never happens. So on the surface, it's like they're all playing nice, but really the ones that have the most power in Stormkeep is that Witches' Council. And when Kendrick's parents were driven out of the city, they kind of fell out of the mode of the other three pillar cities of founding families and that kind of structure. It's all academic. So it's basically like it's like living in a huge college campus. So everything is determined by tenure and how powerful you are and who you know. They don't really have founding families anymore. That's not where the power is. That's not where your ranking. Your ranking is a numeric value given to you by the academy. That's why Leaf and Travis didn't want to go back. A lot of the warriors do everything that they can possibly think of to stay out of the city. And you'll find out later how Kendrick has helped warriors over the years is with the warrior test. But yeah, so that's kind of why. It's because they fell out of the mode when they lost their king and queen and the Ashley and Ironwood structure of the city and the founding families, more of a noble court. That's why they don't have squires, because the average academic doesn't really need a squire. So that's why. I mean, there are a few, but they're very like few and far between. Hold on. My gosh, my new espresso machine. I love it so much. One of the things Brandon was very excited about is that the new espresso machine. There you go. Oh boy. The new espresso machine has 2 bean hoppers. So you can have regular caffeinated beans and decaf beans. So like say it's 7 o'clock and I really want a coffee, but I want to sleep sometime. I can just go boop, 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 and it just grinds from the decaf. So yeah, just a side note. Love my machine. I might do like a little short video about the machine. So, possibility of t-shirts. Yes. I think in one of the last videos, like short videos I uploaded to Facebook, I was showing everybody the printer setup, which is those 2 units, the big white ones, not that little white one there. Everything's backwards in the camera, but these 2. They're on a cart. They were right here, but that one printer is no joke, like almost 30 inches high, and I felt closed in. It was like I was in this little like office cubicle. I felt so just like closed and just smothered, and I couldn't see my reading nook, which is like my happy place. So I moved them onto a cart that fits perfectly in that corner. The thing that's holding me up for the t-shirts and getting that started and finished is that the software that I have for that printer can only run on a Windows machine. I'm on a Mac. So I have to run Parallels, and I had to install Photoshop on both locations. So it's like almost like I'm designing on Mac and having to move it over and then hoping that it opens in the design software for the printer, because you need special software to print the t-shirts, because it has to be like a transparent background. You have to set the opacity. It's just, that's the nitty gritty that I'm still figuring out, is the software part. The hardware part is fine. Those work, they plug in, they connect. Heat press works. Shirts are here. It's like, this is the last little bit. Unfortunately, if I'm sitting at my computer, normally I'm writing. I'm not doing a video. So that's kind of, every time I go to do something, it gets kind of put on hold or moved over. I wish I would love to hire somebody. Like, can you just come in and just set this shit up? Just get it started. And then show me how to use it. And then leave. And I could do it from there. It's just getting everything set up is the hard part. I have to treat this like a business, so I actually have to create my own process docs and settings and, everything from scratch. So that's that's what's taking me a little bit longer. They are coming, and they will be Marin quotes, and there'll be a few like unit warrior with a shield. There were some suggestions about doing the tattooed on the sleeves for the unit warriors. That's a possibility. So it's all coming in time. I'm sorry, I know. Guys, some days just emptying the dishwasher is like a good day for me. Writing is like a really good day for me. So if I were to do like writing, empty the dishwasher, and do a t-shirt, the heavens would open and I would be like, angels would come down and give me a productivity medal. That's why everything takes, to me, it just takes a while because I have to kind of be in the mood and I have to want to do it, which just sucks because I'm lazy and never really want to do anything. So it's coming, I promise. Any projects that I'm working on, I'm assuming they mean writing projects. Because I have a list of lists of projects. So it's like I have a house list, and then in that house list, it's like cleaning and organization, and then a shopping list, and here's my weekly, monthly, quarterly schedule for cleaning. Then I have a home bigger list of stuff that has to get done. Like I need to replace the front door, and I need to, I want to get a screen porch added eventually. I'm gonna put that under mental health. I really do need a screen porch. I miss going out. My parents' house has a screen porch, and I freaking love going out there. So then I have that list. Then I have hobbies that I want to get into. Like I just got Copic markers, and I want to figure out how to shade and draw, and I want to learn how to crochet. And so I have a hobbies list, and then I have a business list of all the shit I have to get done. Like I still have to submit a form for I forget the number. It's a number and a letter for the state of North Carolina to collect sales tax for t-shirts on the website. I still have to get that done. Then there are lists of shit I have to do around writing. So I have to update my series Bible, and I have to update my character list and my timelines. Then there's the actual writing I have to get done. So my whole day is nothing but projects. But as far as writing, if you go to my website under upcoming, there's a list of stuff that I'm actively working on. And I usually try to keep that updated at least once a week at the progress bar, unless it is like I'm active in a book. Like right now, don't go by that for book 9 because it's going to be all over the place. There'll be a day where I don't write a single word, and then the following day I can tack on 15,000 words. That's why I don't update it when I'm in active status. Like when I'm like, no shit, have to write right now, like the 10-day period that I write the book. I don't update it until it's finished, and then it goes from like 7-8% to 100%. But normally if it's on the horizon, I will put it in the upcoming. And so like Made with Love, which is the short stories on there, book 9's on there, book 10's on there, and Ode to Evil, which is the start of the Paranormal Mysteries, on there. Those are like my active projects. So once again, long rambly explanation. Sorry about that. Lyconia. How do finances work? How do the units get paid? And they do get paid. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They do get paid. I'm not saying it's like a huge wage. But paranormals, even a non-affluent family, so for example, not a Ryu family for Magnus, or not a Mackenzie family for Aiden, just the average paranormal, if they have anybody who's in the family that is older than, like, say, 200 years old, which is actually pretty damn young for a paranormal, they kind of have money. So they do jobs, but a lot of the times it'll be something like, they'll charge for the project because materials or labor is used and they're compensated, but it's not like they absolutely have to have it. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. Like, they would rather barter in favors, or I owe you one, or something like that, which happens. Even so, for example, If it's just a shop, then you're basically paying for the goods and maybe a little bit extra for time, electricity for the shop, and hours for the employees. That's it. If you're over 200 years old, even if you put $20 in a savings account in the human world, you're going to have money. It just accumulates. Even in the shitty economic status we have now where interest rates are so low, you're still earning money on money. And so yeah, shops and stuff do charge, but that's just overhead, keeping it so that they pay for the actual shop supplies and stuff like that. Anything bigger, yeah, they're going to just be like, hey, I need a favor, or hey, and especially between craftsmen or shops or something like that. So maybe Gabrielle paid a substantial amount to, say, a charity that the Faye craftsmen endorsed to get Beth's closet done. Or, a Faye craftsman can barter with somebody who maybe has a family-owned mine to get a certain ore. So it's more like barter system on a larger scale. But yes, the unit warriors do get paid. They have a wage from the city. Each of the pillar cities, just like everywhere else on the face of this planet, get taxed. And so anything that's public works and the units publicly defend the city, so they get paid out of the city's budget. So, long rambling explanation again. Sorry. My favorite colors. Yellow, blue, and green. In varying shades and combinations. Though lately, every time I go to order something, like a t-shirt or a bag or something like that, I've been doing a shit ton of neutrals because I'm gearing up for travel. And especially for next year for London, I'm going to be wearing nothing but black, white, and gray because it all goes together. I kind of like that. I started doing that thinking and getting everything lined up for the trip, but then I was like, ooh, everything's easy. All my outfits are easy. You just pull here, and they all go together. So it's that minimalist capsule wardrobe I'm really kind of getting into because it makes being lazy super easy. So, of course, I still have my hoodie, tank top, sweatpants, leggings combo that I wear all the time around the house. But lately, everything I've been ordering has been black, white, navy blue, gray, brown, neutrals. So yeah, but if I am decorating and the office is teal, pops of teal. The guest room is green. The workshop is bright ass teal like this. My bedroom is a navy dark blue because all my furniture is white and it makes the furniture really pop. And at the time when I bought the house, I was working an overnight shift, and having a dark room, dark painted room, oh my God, it helped so much in the morning when the sun came up. It helped keep everything really dark. I still, even though I don't work overnights, I'll still keep it like that because I love that color. So yeah, blues and greens mostly, which is funny because downstairs, it's all red and yellow and browns. So it's warm colors downstairs, cool colors upstairs. Why did Lady Fairfax not give the gown to her daughter-in-law? I don't have anything concrete, the story and the characters haven't really talked to me, but what I am getting from them is that even though they got along, Lady Fairfax, they were civil to each other, her and her daughter-in-law. I don't want to say there was a huge love lost there. I mean, they got along, but they weren't special to one another. So maybe she wasn't, everything that I'm getting from them is she wasn't moved to do it, as opposed to watching and seeing Marin, where Marin needed it in her life. And it wasn't just because all the other dressmakers were not giving her a dress for that, for the ball. I think she saw something in Marin where she's like, she needs this dress. So maybe she just wasn't moved to give it to the daughter-in-law. Will I ever go back and write Adelaide and Byron? As of right now, no. I did do the short story called A Spell is Cast, which explains the backstory of how the spell was done and why. And it's her and Byron. So you get a little bit of them, but I'm not going to go back and do a story. Okay, everything else has been questions that have already been answered in previous videos. So I'm just going to kind of skip them. It's like, who's my favorite doctor? Asking about Ryu, will we go back to Laconia? Stuff like that. So I know I've answered those in previous videos. So we are right at the 30-minute mark. So I'm going to just wrap it here. This actually has cleared out my questions that have been building. We had like over almost 50, so that's done. And as you can tell, I did skip quite a few. But yeah, so if you have any other questions or you have any other topics you want to hear me talk about, either comment down below or send me an email. I will probably be doing another video pretty soon. It's not really related to my chit chat, but I want to do something geared for everything that I've learned in the past month or two for travel and getting ready to travel internationally. I have traveled quite a bit already domestically for all the different conventions. So I'm going to be bringing some travel hacks and, and I got so many questions about my bag when I posted it on Facebook about how did I get, 3.5 weeks into a 30-liter backpack. So I'll be kind of going over that and why I made some of the selections I did and how I condensed down my toiletries. So I will probably be doing one another video probably right after the book is finished about travel. And maybe that will help somebody else who may be going to Rare in London get ready or getting ready for a convention. So that will be coming. But other than that, I will just say goodbye for now. So like I said, if you have a burning question that you have to have answered, send me an email and I will get it added to the list. And as always, if you keep reading, I'll keep writing. I will see you guys next time. Bye!